Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Real glad that you could join us again. Going to be speaking with Laine Richards this morning. She's joining us on the program to share her personal journey living with active epilepsy and how she went to Capitol Hill to speak with members of Congress about the importance of epilepsy research and funding. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Laine Richards, and thank you so much for taking the time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Tell our listeners who Laine Richards is, what is it that you do, where do you do it, and then let's talk about your journey living with epilepsy, okay?
Awesome. Well, I'm Laine. Hi. And I have epilepsy. I've had it since I was 12, but I remember having seizures back to as far as kindergarten, which is kind of crazy. But we went through a really long time of misdiagnosis and just craziness, different therapies and on. And I decided after that, I didn't want another kid to have to go through occupational therapy or different psych tests. And again, just months and months of confusion and wondering what was, I don't want to say wrong, but wondering what was wrong.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wanted to be an advocate.
Now, you say you went through a period of misdiagnosis where this was occupational therapy and these different psych evaluations and procedures. Were all of those part of the misdiagnoses in trying to find out, as you say, what was wrong?
Yes, it was all part of the misdiagnoses. And sadly enough, a lot of people with epilepsy are diagnosed with inattentive ADHD because of their seizures, which is really sad, especially because it can be so stressful for everyone involved, including the therapist, because they're obviously wondering why things aren't getting any better. And in some cases, things are getting worse. Parents, because they think they've figured out what's going on with you. And again, wondering why it's getting worse, that it's something else. And you just don't know what it is, sadly enough.
Obviously, you're here with us this morning to give us some information and to raise awareness as well. Do you know how many people are dealing with epilepsy? You know, not just in your age range, but overall in the United States, it's not a rare disease.
Not at all. So most people, 1 in 26 have epilepsy, which is, when you think about it, a very big statistics, which means 900,000 people in Michigan alone suffer epilepsy, and that's only people that are diagnosed. And then 1 in 10 non-epileptics will have a non-epileptic seizure in their lifetime, meaning they will have a tonic-clonic, or more commonly known as grand mal seizure, and have it never happen again.
In the last few years that you've been an advocate, have you discovered what is the problem with such a prevalent disease being so misdiagnosed so often? Is our healthcare providers not aware of something that is so prevalent?
No, all healthcare providers that I've worked with anyways have been so amazing. It's just, I think, not something that you'd expect. And there's so many different types of seizures, it can definitely be hard to figure out, oh, this is a seizure. For example, the ones that were confusing everyone were my absence seizures, which I always explain to people like a blip in time. I'll be in mid-sentence and just stop talking and space out. That's what I always say, and come back and not know what happened. And it takes a few seconds to remember what I was talking about before, which is why it is so commonly misdiagnosed with inattentive ADHD. So that's a big reason that it does tend to go so misdiagnosed. I never want to say like they don't know at all, because again, everybody that I've worked with anyways has been so amazing and put so much work into me.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you've overcome, and maybe give some hope to some others who are trying to deal with some of those challenges as well.
Of course. So one of the hardest things for me have been medications, and it's not that way for everyone. A few of my friends went on one medication, didn't have any side effects, and are now seizure-free and driving, which is amazing. So I want to make it super, super clear that not everybody goes through the same struggles. But a problem for me has been different medications and the side effects that come along with it. And I personally am not seizure free, and it's, I think, like a 0.8% chance I ever will be. It's either that or 0.8. But everybody goes through it differently, but there is someone out there that understands. And in the beginning, I definitely felt really, really alone, because plus there's always such a stereotype when it comes to seizures. So for a while, I felt really alone too. And I never want anyone to feel that way, because you're not alone at all, actually. Like I said earlier, 1 in 26 people will develop epilepsy in their lifetime. That's a lot.
And support of your family. Yeah.
Oh, of course. My family has always been so amazing and so supportive with everything, especially my mom, Carla. She's just amazing. She helps me so much with everything. It's great.
Now, I understand that you recently received a UCB Family Epilepsy Scholarship. Tell us a little bit about that program. And also, I understand that you've been representing the state of Michigan with the Epilepsy Foundation of America's Teens Speak Up program.
Okay, so UCB is amazing. They helped me so much, especially with my first semester. We put all of that towards tuition, which has, everybody knows, very expensive. I thought personally it was relatively easy to fill out. And what I really liked was there isn't a GPA limit, which for a lot of people with epilepsy is very important. Especially for me, I struggled throughout high school, just because of everything that was going on. And I did not think I was going to get any scholarships when it came to academics or advocacy, and UCB definitely changed that. I always encourage people to look into the scholarship programs that they offer, because they definitely helped me, and I know they can help so many others. And then moving on to the advocacy programs I've worked with. Again, I think I said earlier, I never wanted someone to have to go through what I did. So I promised myself I would be as big an advocate as. So I have gone to Capitol Hill to lobby with my senators and representatives about epilepsy and different funding that we need, because again, it's so stigmatized and so few people know about it, even though so many people have it. It's really important to get certain funding for the CDC and other programs that really help the Epilepsy Foundation in general. During that program, I was able to meet others as well.
Talk a little bit about how your experience has possibly inspired your studies.
I hope it's inspired my studies a lot. I write a lot of papers about epilepsy. And I always think to myself, well, I'm definitely hoping that I do well on the paper. I always hope that I'm educating a professor or a fellow student or even a friend who's proofreading or anyone that I talk to about epilepsy. It always means the world to me when people ask me questions after proofreading an essay or after me talking about it at different speeches and events. So I always try and make sure at least 2 people proofread it, and I do my best to even spread awareness through my schoolwork.
Laine, where can our listeners get some more information about epilepsy in general, about UCB, and possibly a little bit more about you?
Well, for me, you can just type in Laine Richards, Michigan, and there are a couple articles that pop up about what I've done. For the Epilepsy Foundation, you can either go to the Epilepsy Foundation of Michigan website. So really just type in Epilepsy Foundation of Michigan, or for example, if you're from Iowa originally, or you hear this from there, you type in Epilepsy Foundation of Iowa. And you can always find some UCB details on the foundation site, or that's my understanding. And if you go to certain epilepsy events, they are always there to educate people on different scholarships. And if you go to their website, you can just look up UCB scholarship programs, and it's one of the first links that pops up. That's what I did. in order to get there. So that's where you can find information. And then there are always people at the Epilepsy Foundation. There are certain hotlines that you can call that help so many people with questions or even just talking. You can call someone who understands what you're going through and just say, hey, I'm kind of struggling. And they'll talk to you for as long as you need and let you know that you're not alone out there. And another amazing resource that you can go to for more information is www.ucbscholarship.com. They have plenty of information for you there.
Excellent. Laine, it's been a pleasure speaking with you this morning.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Listen in, download it, SoundCloud, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.